I'm going to show you a few clips now of a programme I did with the BBC about cloud reading or cloud divination. This comes from what was an ancient art called Aeromancy, or Nephelomancy was the other term for it, cloud reading. People used to look at weather conditions and treat it as an augury, an omen, a portent for the future. It goes right back to ancient times, and it goes right back to the ancient Greeks. The Druids used to use it, and the Romans actually, because Constantine, the Emperor Constantine, went into battle and it looked like the battle was going to go wrong, and he saw in the clouds pictures that made the big shape of a cross, and he thought, I know this, what's this? I'm going to change all my banners to the symbol of the cross. This must be a message from the gods, he thought. Put the cross on all his flags and paraphernalia, and they went to war, won against the odds, and Constantine decided from that point on to convert to the symbol of the cross, Christianity. So the whole Roman Empire became Christian. If that hadn't happened, the history of the world would be very different, and that was all happened because of a shape seen in the clouds. Anyway, here we go. Coming up, the BBC programme about cloud reading.
There are a whole number of different reasons why people might contemplate the clouds, perhaps because they're landscape artists or because they're glider pilots. But the cloud spotter I'm going to meet now, Craig Hamilton Parker, contemplates them for an entirely different reason. That's because he's a cloud psychic. Craig.
Hi, darling. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. How are you doing?
Not bad.
Good.
Yeah, you're doing all right too. Well, I should know that, being a psychic.
So what is it that you do exactly with clouds?
Yeah, well, it's called Aeromancy, you know. And so mancies are sort of like divinations. You can get geomancy, reading the earth. I know a friend that reads dirty plates and interprets it reading like from the dirty stains on the plate, you know. So we can read anything like that. But I think clouds are just such a beautiful, ephemeral, effulgent sort of thing that they just lend themselves to some form of heavenly, spiritual type of exploration. I mean, Elvis Presley, you know, I believe he looked at the clouds and actually foresaw his own death. He saw some horrible picture in the clouds and got quite upset about it.
I'm keen for Craig to read my fortune.
How does it work then, practically, if we're going to do this? Are you asking me to see shapes, or are you seeing shapes?
I'll have a look and see. If I can see, have a look at the clouds that we've got around. We've got some of those nice, I guess they're cumulus clouds. Some of the pictures I kind of feel they're like motherly faces. They look like happy mum looks to them. So could I say that you are always, you're a person that's has always been through your life very close to mum?
Yeah, I suppose so, yeah.
And I would say very protective to anything connected with family.
Talking of family, we're going to, we've got another child on the way.
Oh, right. So
are you getting a boy or a girl feel?
You got two already?
I've got one already. I've got a girl.
I've got a feeling it's going to be another girl.
Really? And then another question I had. Do you do this in terms of questions, or is it?
Yeah,
I just
you can
sit
do,
here
because obviously what you can do is you can say a question, and of course my unconscious will project it. It's a way of connecting to the intuitive unconscious.
Now, I'm thinking of presenting to some eminent meteorologists that we should come up with a new a new categorization of cloud. There's a type of cloud which looks like you're underwater and you've got the waves of the surface of the water that you're looking up at. And there's no Latin or other name for this type of cloud, but I might be laughed out of the room before we get there.
No, I think it's worth putting this forward. Yeah, I think you can see you've seen a hole in the clouds, as it were, that needs patching up.
But before you can say James Randi, Craig spots a cloud that seems to sum it all up.
I see a sort of like a Mickey Mouse sort of laughing sort of face.
Right, yeah,
You know?
yeah.
That face looks like it's someone being mocked. And
Right.
I think you have a fear of people not taking you seriously. You've walked into the academic world and they don't. They look at you as, who's this guy? You know. And you've got to get over this fear of people not taking you seriously. I think you've got to just be a lot more upfront about what you do. You know, you're as big an expert as anybody else. You know, and that's the way I think you've got to storm the world and take the future by hand. And that's what I think the clouds are saying to us today. You know. Say what you believe in, and don't worry about what the academics keep sort of saying, that it should be this or that.
So the clouds are saying, be bold with your love of clouds.
Your love of clouds, yeah.
Be bold with my love of clouds. I like that. And whether or not you believe that the clouds can be the messengers of one's fortune, at the end of the day, it's just another way of appreciating them. Another way to be inspired by the sky.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that. I always have to mention James Randi, even in the simplest of programmes, and this was just a bit of fun, really. But it is a serious art. You can actually read a little bit more about cloud reading and about the whole idea of accessing the intuition and the unconscious mind by looking at random shapes in not just clouds, but there's things like pyromancy, where you look into fires, or look into random ink blot shapes, I also explain in my book, Intuitive Knowledge, which I hope you go out and buy, and I'm sure you'd enjoy. Okay, see you next time.